Hi guys, my name is Cortland Jacoby and I'm here with Punch Drunk Critics. You know them from Submarine, Red Oaks, BBC's Ghosts, and Paddington 2. Of course, I'm here with Phantom of the Opens director Craid Roberts and writer Simon Farnaby to chat about the new film starring Mark Rylance and Sally Hawkins. How are you guys?
Awesome, thanks. How are you?
Really good, yeah. Really enjoying being here in America and talking to you.
That's awesome. So Simon, you literally wrote the book on Maurice Litcroft, the amateur golfer who made some waves in Britain and also here in the US for a little bit. The film is actually based on the book that you wrote with Scott Murray. When were you first drawn to this man's story?
I read an obituary when he died in 2007, and I just loved it. I loved his, I couldn't believe that this wasn't a more well-known story. And I grew up around golf. My dad was a greenkeeper, but it was something I had to keep quiet because I was actually really good at golf. But I discovered it wasn't very cool, and all the kids in bands were getting girlfriends, and I was in my diamond jumper looking in on the sidelines.
Still are.
I still am. So I sort of changed focus to film and comedy, and then when I read the obituary, this felt like I can marry my secret shameful passion for golf, yeah. and my love of cinema, and then really it went from there. I actually wrote a really bad screenplay first, in a sort of Flitcroftian move. And then I realized that I need to do a bit more research. So researched with a journalist and wrote a book, which I can highly recommend to any screenplay writer. Is a good thing to do if you want to know about your subject. And then I wrote a much better screenplay after I'd learned how to write screenplays. And then got a great director involved with Craig to make it. So that's the evolution in a nutshell.
We got to see your swing in this film, and it's very good, by the way. Craig,
that was one take, and no one else could hit those old wooden clubs from the 70s, but I nailed it 300 yards down the fairway.
The smile on your face after that was amazing.
It was the proudest moment of my life.
Craig, I believe this is the first time you've worked or you've directed something that wasn't your own work. What was like your favorite thing about that? And then what was your least favorite thing? What was it challenging?
My favorite thing is that the script was good. that always helps. I think I'd had this like pretentious idea that I'd be this auteur that would like make his own stuff only, but when I read Simon's script, I just loved it so much. The thing that the scariest about it really was the just that you wouldn't execute it in the way that Simon had hoped, pretty much. You want to make sure he's worked on it for so long, like almost 15 years. I mean, not every day for 15 years, but it's been in his
most
head.
days.
Most days. Yeah, he still is working on it. And
still not finished.
No. One day. So that's the scariest thing really, is that you just want it to you want to keep the voice there while also adding your own.
Speaking of adding your own voice, I love the visual style of this film. You've got these really beautiful fantasy sequences, and you also employ a lot of whip pans, which I always really appreciate. Talk to me a little bit about your style inspirations. I know that Paul Thomas Anderson is someone you cited in the past.
Yeah, always. He's amazing. Well, Punch Drunk Love is my favorite movie. And I love the style of that movie. I love the I suppose the iconography of Superman that he has throughout, that essentially Adam Sandler is Clark Kent. And that really informed this. When I read the script, there was a moment that Simon had where Morris opens up his overalls and, it's like Superman essentially. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to kind of do what PTA did with Punch Drunk Love. And so there's loads of, within the production, there's loads of like Superman colors and stuff like that. And I like a whip pan. I think it adds energy. There was a lot of them in the first cut. I felt a bit sick when I watched the first cut because there was so many of them. So I took some out, but I'm glad they're still in there. And it was, it's really about, keeping the story, moving.
Right. You, as I mentioned before, were on Red Oaks, Craig.
Yeah.
Is there, that sort of takes place in the same kind of like country club world. There's class issues similar to this film. What did you kind of take from that to bring to Phantom of the Open?
Well, just the directors that I'd worked with, Amy Heckerling was on that movie, and Hal Hartley, and David Gordon Green, and I've I suppose taken stuff from all of them. Amy Heckerling had a really great. She said to me one day, she's like, "Don't put all your great ideas into one thing." And I think that's really good advice. You can get obsessed with, like, I call it stacking ammo. So if I have an idea of a visual and stuff, I kind of put it into my notes and I build them up. And you can get carried away by putting them all into one thing. And I always think of Amy when I'm getting carried away.
I think we all should. She's great. Simon, you have a knack for writing really endearing characters that should be laughed at, but aren't. And each character you write kind of has like this little bit of humanity in them, even if they're bears, which Paddington 2 is like one of my favorites, by the way. So talk to me a little bit about balancing character with comedy as a writer.
It's a good question. I mean, I suppose like with Paddington, it was sort of you got your source material and actually once we said to Michael Bond, obviously when he was alive, what is Paddington's flaw? What's his flaw? And he says it's his confidence.
Right.
He's totally confident he can do something, and then he fails a lot. And strangely, I suppose that's a bit like Morris. And I'm sort of, like Craig says, Craig sort of treats Morris, sort of looks at Morris like a superhero, but his power is his confidence, So there are similarities, but I suppose it's because I love them. Really, it's a short answer. Like I'd rather laugh at someone like Rhys Ifans' character, who's the authoritarian, the half man, half rule book. Those people I am happy to laugh at because they're so ridiculous. But I don't find Morris ridiculous at all. In fact, like I'm totally behind having a dream and going for it. And he had that instilled him at a young age, when he got evacuated, and someone said to him for the first time, you can be anything you want to be. And that stuck with him, that stayed with him. And he passed that on to his sons, who did actually achieve something, became world disco dancing champions, but just so happens that craze didn't last very long. So, that's life's not fair. What can you do? So I guess that is the thing, is to love the character enough that you don't want people to laugh at them. You want them to go with them on their journey. And that's probably the most important thing.
I want to end with talking about the magic of Mark Rylance and Sally Hawkins. You guys really struck out with two amazing people. Talk to me about working with them and what they brought to Phantom of the Open.
Well, they're the best. We really aimed for the best, and the script was so great that they wanted to do it. And Mark was always in our minds, really. But when we started talking about it, we talked about the tone of it and grounding it and making it feel real. And that would also inform that people wouldn't laugh at and laugh with. And Mark seemed perfect for that. He'd never been offered a comedy either, so that was great and good timing for us. And then we both know Sally very well, and I've worked with Sally before. And every movie would be made better with Sally Hawkins in it. That's a fact.
I agree.
So yeah, it was wonderful. I mean, you have two character actors in a golf comedy. That's
yeah,
awesome.
I mean, Mark, I didn't know what he would do. He's quite a unique sort of character. And I was really surprised. Like he has like a clown, like Craig said, never done a comedy before, but he has a clown like face. When I first went to set, and I went, he's like a sort of French clown, like from the 50s or something. Do you know what I mean? He's got this really very open face that you can read quite easily. I suppose like Stan Laurel, but not like Stan Laurel. Do you know what I mean? Like very open and so when he's attacked like by Rhys Ifans, I love that scene because he says to him, do you think you should retire? And he's like, no, not at all. and that I loved in a nutshell what he was doing. that was doing something that I didn't really that wasn't, I mean, he was in the writing a bit, but that was completely Mark's, what he brought to it, this sort of innocent sort of dignity that he had that was really amazing.
Well, thank you guys so much. You should be so proud of this, and I wish it all the best.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Cortland.
Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.